Well, I think we're good to go. So, hi everyone. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Mareika. I'm a grad of the class of 2012, and I work in the alumni office at Mount A. And we've got 6 amazing alumni here with us, all pretty recent grads who are doing interesting things. Oh, and we have a surprise guest. Hi, Monty. Are you having fun? Nice. Cool. Thanks for joining us. Oh, bye. So for those of you who are here, if you're not following Mount A Admissions on Instagram, I definitely encourage you to do that because that was Monty, our mascot, and I'm pretty sure there's a bingo card and there's some kind of different variety of prizes if you get bingo at open house. So you can check off that box that you saw Monty on an event. Anyway, yeah, so we've got a young alumni panel here, really excited about. Just a quick housekeeping thing. Because this is a Zoom webinar and not a meeting, how it works is only the panelists will have their cameras and mics on. And there is a chat box, but if you have questions for our alum, we ask you to put them in the Q&A box. That's what I'm going to be monitoring, not the chat box. Yeah, and so thank you so much for being here. And like I said, as we go, if you have questions, just type them in the Q&A, and I know our alum will be really excited to answer them. So to get us started, we're going to have everyone do a quick introduction. So let's start with Everett. Do you want to say hi to everyone, Everett? Maybe give your class year, what you studied, what you're doing now, and your favorite Mount A memory.
So, hello everybody. My name is Everett Patterson. At Mount A, I did a double major in math and physics, so a BSc degree. I'm a part of the class of 2020. I am currently at the University of Waterloo doing a master's in theoretical physics. And I think my favorite memory at Mount A wouldn't be a specific moment, but getting to live with my best friends 2 years in residence and then 2 years off campus was really amazing.
Awesome, thanks. Okay, Heather, would you like to go next?
Sure. So hi, everyone. I'm Heather Webster. I'm a graduate of the class of 2015, and I graduated from Mount A with my Bachelor of Arts in Psychology with honors. And I currently work as a first-year lawyer, just started, very recently at a large law firm on Bay Street in Toronto. I focus primarily in health law, working with hospitals, along with general litigation. And I hate to have the same favorite memory as Everett, but I do. I loved living in residence with my friends, and I graduated 5 years ago, and I still speak with those people almost daily, texting and communicating on social media. So very fond memories there.
That's awesome. Thanks, Heather. Devika, would you like to go next with your grad year, what you studied, what you're doing now, and a favorite Mount A memory?
Awesome. Thank you so much. So my name is Dev or Devika, and I graduated in the class of 13 with a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology with a minor in Commerce. Right now, I am currently working at the University of Calgary as an employee relations specialist within the Career Services Office in Experiential Learning and Student Employment. And my favorite memory at Mount A, there are so many. I think it'll take me ages to kind of list it out, but I think it would be international orientation for me, because it was the very first time I was in Canada, meeting students from all over the world, and then kind of moving into university orientation. I think it was all just a fantastic experience.
Awesome. Thank you. Megumi, would you like to go next?
Sure. So my name is Megumi Gates, and I graduated from Mount A in 2019 with a Bachelor of Science in Biochemistry with honors, and then minors in chemistry and in biology. Right now I'm in my second year at Dalhousie Medicine in New Brunswick, so on the St. John campus. And my favorite memory at Mount A was probably Saturday morning Smile, which is one of the extracurricular activities at Mount A. It was my favorite thing ever. It was just the most fun Saturday morning. So that's my favorite memory.
That's so heartwarming. I love that all the Mount A alum right now, as soon as you said smile, everyone started smiling and nodding. Like, I think that's a great involvement that I'm sure maybe some students will have some questions about. So last but not least, Rachel.
Hi everyone, my name is Rachel Howlett. I graduated from Mount Allison in 2018. I did honors in chemistry, and I also did a minor in international politics. I'm currently a third-year medical student at the University of Ottawa, and I'd have to say one of my favorite memories, because there are too many to choose from, is that I played on the varsity soccer team in first year, and we got to fly to Newfoundland for the weekend to play Memorial University. And it was a great group of girls, and we had a blast.
That sounds amazing. And something that, you know, a lot of people aren't able to do right now. So cherish that travel memory. Awesome. Well, I'm going to get started with the questions. I see a few more attendees have come in since we started the introductions. Just to let everyone know, if you have a question for any alum, put it in our Q&A box, and I will definitely broadcast that question to our panelists. So to get started, our first question is, why did you choose to study at Mount A? Heather, how would you like to take that one?
Sure. So I chose to study at Mount Allison for a couple of reasons. One being I was really drawn to it because it's a liberal arts school, and so I was interested in the opportunity to kind of explore different areas of study before necessarily deciding what I would major in or focus on. I also was just really drawn to it because it's a small school, which I understood would mean hands-on learning opportunities, working closely with professors, and it enables one to be very involved in student life. And that was something that I was very interested in, and certainly ended up being the case once I arrived on campus.
Nice. Devika, I feel like you probably have an interesting story since you were an international student coming to Mount A. Why did you choose to study at Mount A?
So when I was applying to universities, of course, the options were, there were just way too many options to choose from. But I think one of the things that made Mount Allison stand out a lot for me was the admissions process. So how open, transparent, and supportive the entire admissions and recruitment team was throughout the process. That was fantastic. And I think that kind of sold me on the institution in itself, and just how supportive the community would be over the course of my studies as well. So that was one. And the second was the small class sizes. Because I was coming, though I am from New Delhi, India, so it's a very, very big country and super populated. So moving to Sackville, New Brunswick was definitely not on my radar at all. But I think one of the things that did attract me was the small class sizes. Like before I even started at Mount A, I got an opportunity to chat with some of the professors. I got an opportunity to chat with some of the current students and really be able to attend a class, and really being able to have what Heather said, the hands-on opportunities, being able to be more involved in student life. I think those were the two things that really stood out for me.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. Rachel, how about you? Why did you choose to study at Mount A?
For me, I kind of wanted to kind of get out a little bit, to get away from home but still be close. So I moved one province over, since I'm from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, and I got to go for a tour. And on that tour, I ran into a friend I knew from high school, and she like added on to the tour, which was very nice of her. But the thing that really stood out to me is that she would say hello to like almost every second or third person and recognize them and have a conversation. And I was blown away, and I just couldn't get over it. And she told me that if I came to Mount A, it was bound to happen to me. And it did. And to me, that was one of the loveliest things being on campus.
Cool. Everett, how about you?
So there are a few things that drew me to Mount A. As a student, knowing that I was interested in sciences, liberal arts school was maybe not top of mind, but I think that there's a lot that scientists can learn from the arts, and I think I had a lot of value that I was able to draw out of my distribution credits and my non-science courses, which I very much enjoyed. And I like that Mount Allison isn't about, I'm currently at Waterloo, which is a very like focused university, and I think there's something to be said for that. but I wanted to develop myself on a broader scale. And I felt like Mount A was a place where I could not only develop scientific abilities by doing research and TAing, but also develop who I was as a person through leadership opportunities and taking courses that I might not have considered otherwise.
Amazing. Megumi, do you have anything to add for why you chose Mount A?
I think I can echo what everyone else has said as well here. There's a lot of great reasons for coming to Mount A. One of the reasons why I chose Mount A was because of the student to professor ratio. So same kind of thing with the small class sizes, where at a bigger school, you might just kind of be identified by your student number, but at Mount A, that's definitely not the case, where most professors, even after my first year, knew my name and would wave on campus. And that was just kind of, I think it's kind of unheard of when you think of just being in first year and knowing all your professors. So that was one of the reasons. And then also I knew that it was a close-knit community, and being close to home, there was just no other choice.
That's awesome. Okay.
Can I add something here, if that's
Of
okay?
course, totally.
Another thing, and I'm just listening to all of this and I'm getting all these ideas and why I chose Mount A. But one of the other reasons was I wasn't sure what I wanted to study. There was this part of me which was like, I'm totally a science kid, but then the other part of me was like, I don't think I can do science. Like, I want to do arts. So I think one of the things that was really interesting is initially I was told, like, your first year, take your courses, kind of experiment with what you like, what you don't like, and by your second year you have to declare your major and minor. So that gave me a lot of flexibility. I'm not sure how much that process has changed, but I love that flexibility of just being able to take a variety of courses, see where my interest lied, and then select what I wanted to study.
Okay, well, we actually have a question coming in. So having had such a great experience in hindsight, what would you say to an international student who is concerned that Mount A and Sackville may be a bit too small?
Is that for me?
Yeah, that's for you.
So, and I think it's a very valid concern. I think I will start with that. It's a valid concern coming from a very, very big city to a town which has one grocery store, one stoplight, one bar, one little drugstore. It can definitely seem like what kind of a decision am I making? But let me tell you, I spent 6 years in Sackville, New Brunswick. I spent 3 years at university, and then I have actually worked at Mount Allison as well within the admissions and the recruitment team for 3 years after that. And I would still in a heartbeat move back to Sackville. And I'll tell you why. It's the people. The people are just so friendly. And Rachel, you mentioned that. Like, you'll see everyone smile. People will hold the door open for you, which I have not seen. Not to say Calgary's not nice, but it doesn't happen here. And it took me a while to get used to it. It's when they say that it's a tight-knit community, it truly, truly is. And you will really find your people here and your niche here. It will not feel any different I guess you won't have that anxiety that this is a really, really small town and I'm stuck. It just does not feel that way. It's always vibrant. There's always something happening, whether it be through the International Student Center, through the Student Life Office. There's just a wide variety of activities. And then of course, Moncton's always 20, 25 minutes away. So a lot of us used to like carpool together with a friend, and we had to pitch in for gas and like go down to Moncton, watch a movie, go to the mall, shop, and come back. So I think it's a great mix of having that, you know, small town vibe as well as having the big city right beside you. Trust me, the people will make you feel so welcome. You will never want to leave.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dev. Just from a show of hands from our 5 panelists, how many of you were at Mount A for more than 4 years? None. So you guys all did your degree in 4 years. Yeah.
I did my degree in 4 years, but I might interject and mention. So I lived off campus with 7 other people, and it was quite the blast and busy house. But 4 of us are doing their final 5th year right now. So it's definitely like maybe the sample size is a bit skewed, but I definitely have many friends who have changed paths along the way or have decided to like add an extra minor, an extra component to their degree. So it's absolutely not unheard of.
Yeah, thank you, Everett, for adding that. That's really valuable. Okay, well, I've got another Q&A question coming in. Sorry, guys, I know you prepared other answers, but these are really good. So I am going to ask Heather maybe to answer this one. What's one thing about your time at Mount A that you would do differently if you had the opportunity to start over?
Ooh, that's a very tough question because I really enjoyed my time at Mount A and everything I got involved in. I think one thing, so I may be a little bit different than others on the panel, but this may be the case for everyone, but I really came in wanting to study psychology, and I did kind of dabble in political science a bit and music a bit, but I really stuck with psychology, and I think it would have been worthwhile to come in with a bit more of an open mind and really consider even more science classes. I came in pretty strong on the arts and doing sociology and these kinds of things, and I think Mount Allison presents this opportunity where you can explore lots of things. You can take photography classes. You can kind of do really anything that you want, as Devika said, in your first year or even two, a little bit maybe. And so I think for me, I did go in quite focused, and that's something I would maybe change, but that's a difficult question because there's so many great things about my time at Mount A. So yeah.
And these things are really learning opportunities when you look back, right? Like there's so many. Okay, well, I think this leads in nicely, like your answer does, Heather, to one of the questions: what did you originally plan to study, and what did you graduate with? So Rachel, did you study what you were planning on studying?
So not exactly. I came in and I there used to be like a booklet of like all the different programs, and like I'm sure there's some variation of it. And I was like going through it, and I came across cognitive science, and I thought that was super interesting, you know, to do computer science, to do like philosophy, you know, you have a little psych in there, a little math in there. I was like, that'll be really interesting. So I took first year computer science, and it was a hard no for me. It's like very, you know, very specific, very particular. I have friends that love the degree. It was not for me. So I always had this big love for chemistry. So I kind of went there, and then I did a political science class in my first year, and politics to me is always something that stood out as being very important and also very interesting. So I kind of just continued with my minor, and it was great to kind of have that, to be like very science focused, but then to also have, you know, all those political classes, and then to be able to do some languages with the kind of the international politics minor.
Awesome. Megumi, do you have anything to add to that? Like, did you study what you originally planned on studying at Mount A?
I went in with an undecided science major. So I guess like just going from not really knowing and then in the end choosing biochem. But I was also one course short from a religious studies minor. So I almost got there, but
awesome.
I found religious studies really interesting. I wish I could have gotten the minor, but I still got like a lot of course experience. So I don't regret that at all.
That's amazing. Okay, we have a question here. Have any of the panelists continued on with an internship opportunity that they were a part of during their undergraduate years at Mount A? So did anyone do an internship that they continued on with after graduating? Dev, did I see you nod?
It's not exactly well, it wasn't exactly an internship. Well, it kind of was. So I was really involved on campus throughout my time at Mount Allison, as I'm sure everybody on this panel was, because it's just what the community is like. It was an internship through the career office at the time, and I forget some of the details, but I was working in the student life office and supporting their operations. And not that I continued within student life, but right after graduation, because of my involvement in the Mount Allison community, I did get hired full-time within the recruitment and admissions team. And that's kind of how my career in post-secondary kind of took a start. And I still am in post-secondary, and I absolutely love it. So I think that kind of answers it in short. Wasn't the exact internship, but yes, just knowing people within the different departments, and kind of doing that internship, working within the community kind of got me my first full-time opportunity.
Awesome. Now, Everett, because you were an ambassador at Mount A, I figure you might be able to answer this question that came in. It's the very first question we got that I just haven't really been able to get to. So we've got an attendee who's wondering about the vibrancy of employment opportunities post Mount A, but particularly for international students. So can you speak to, employment opportunities, but also for students who are from outside of Canada?
Yeah, so I know that the International Center, so there's a center, a group of people at Mount A, employees who work to facilitate international students arriving, and I'm sure Dev could also speak to this.
Mm-hmm.
And I have friends from my class, so class of 2020, who actually were able to come here with special programs that like guaranteed internships and employment opportunities out of undergrad. I assume it's not everybody, like this is a program that will take all international students, but that's definitely an opportunity. And I also think that, so while the question was targeted for international students, I think it's also good to keep in mind that for a lot of students, there are work opportunities while you are at Mount A, and a lot of those might lead to things, despite it not necessarily being like a continuation of an internship. Like I did research for my 3 summers at Mount A. I did research with profs in the math department, and now I'm doing research in a similar field at a different university. So it's not like I didn't continue the same job. It's not the same prof hiring me, but I definitely wouldn't have gotten this research position as a graduate student if it weren't for the experience I had in the lab during my undergrad. So I definitely think if employment is something that you're interested in, one, there are people who are experts in that on campus who can help you, but 2, there are definitely opportunities as a student even before you graduate on campus.
Thanks. Okay, well, I do want to try and get through our questions. So I'm going to go to another one that we planned, and then I'll take some more from our Q&A. So what experiential learning or career development opportunities were available to you as a student? Heather, do you want to start?
Sure, yeah. So I think there's so many career development opportunities because there's so many opportunities to be involved on campus for everyone. There's different clubs, there's research opportunities, there's opportunities to travel, there's kind of anything you're interested in. There's people probably also interested in that and doing something around it. And so I found when I was at Mount A, there were a lot of, because there's so many opportunities to be involved, I think it's through those opportunities that you can develop skills that will prove useful throughout your career. So I found there were numerous summits and speakers and conferences that were taking place on campus. And for me, those exposed me to a lot of world issues that are facing our generation and our society, and kind of sparked my interest in different career paths. But then for me, overall, I think where I had a lot of my career development opportunities was through involvement on campus. I was a RA in residence and then ended up being elected to the student government for my final 2 years. And through those roles, I developed a lot of really great leadership and teamwork skills, negotiation, advocacy, kind of strategy, all of which I used throughout law school and continue to today. So kind of building on what Everett said, those were jobs on campus. And although I don't continue to work on campus, those really launched me into the career I have today. And then I would also note, this is somewhat more in the classroom, but my honors thesis in psychology, my professor allowed me to tailor it to my interest in health law and policy. And so it was a thesis around a health program in the province of New Brunswick. And so through that as well, it really assisted in my career development. So I think lots of opportunities on campus for that.
Amazing. Thanks, Heather. So we've got a question about med school. So maybe Megumi, we'll start with you and then we'll go to Rachel. we've got an attendee wondering, how did your time at Mount A help you get into med school? Don't you have to do pre-med to get in? No, you do not have to go do pre-med to get into med school. Just a few years ago, actually, we had a Bachelor of Music student get admitted to med school. So there's a fun fact for you. But Megumi, I'll let you take that away.
Yeah, for sure. So you definitely don't need to have a pre-med degree. And I think med schools value backgrounds, all different backgrounds. So it probably helps to have something that's a little bit different, or just kind of go towards what you're interested in. Don't worry about kind of what the prerequisites are. Like, you'll get there when you get there. But in terms of what helped me at Mount A, I think Mount A is academically really challenging and really stimulating. So in my biochem degree, the even just like the discipline from the lab work and the courses just really helped me prepare myself mentally for when I did get in. And in first year, when you're like loaded with a lot of coursework, that I was prepared for it because of my experience at Mount A. And then on getting into, if you're doing what you love, then you're going to have a lot to talk about. So with volunteering, there's tons of volunteer opportunities at Mount A. And through those, if you find some that you really enjoy and you can talk a lot to during the interviews or write about, then that's going to help you out for sure.
Thank you. Rachel, do you have anything to add?
I want to say I agree with everything Megumi just said. I think it's all really good advice. To talk a bit personally, I came into Mount A in first year thinking maybe medicine and like very keen on it. And then in second and third year, I kind of like stepped back away from it and wasn't sure, and really just like focused on my course and like focused on my degree. And I think that can happen too. So I don't know. I mean, some people are so intent on medicine and do enter the pre-med degree and go, but in my opinion, like I don't think you can lose, because it does set you up well. But if you figure out you want to do something else, like Mount A is a great place for that flexibility. And being in medical school in Ontario, you see a lot of people with pre-med degrees. And I would say that they are coming into first year, they probably had already seen some of the material, maybe a little bit. But I think that a lot of people like did certain things or followed a checklist to get in, whereas Mount A, as Megumi had said, like there's so many things to do and you do what you love. And I think you gain a lot of more, I don't know, passion about what you do. And I think that you bring that into your degree. And I think people see it. So I think that overall, it's a really good experience, and that flexibility is really helpful. And of course, knowing your profs and being able to do research, I think being at a smaller school gives you more opportunities. And I would say that you have a little bit of a leg up.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much. Those are really great answers. There's so many good questions coming in. I don't even know where to start. Let's see. Dev, do you have any tips for students who are in grade 12 and who are preparing for university?
Absolutely. There could be, again, so many tips that I could give, but I would give two top tips. One would be, if you're choosing Mount Allison, try to branch out as much as possible in your first year. Try to take different courses, get involved in a variety of different volunteer opportunities, and a variety of different activities happening on campus. And I'm going to segue just a little bit here, but we were talking about some of the employment opportunities available on campus. And a big part of career development, I feel, is just being involved in things that you love. And a lot of the skills that you develop will become transferable once you start applying for jobs in the job market. So say, for instance, in my first year, well, I won't say first year. In my second year, I was a part of an internship with Student Life. I was a teaching assistant. I was also tutoring. I was a resident assistant in one of the residence halls. I was also part of a club and society where I was the VP for the events for that club and society. I was also volunteering with Red Cross. in the Sappho community. And this is just a small example of some of the things that you can get involved in. So number one, keep your mind open. Don't go into tunnel vision in your first year, because I know you come in, you're like, I want to do bio and I'm sticking with bio. And then you'll get your first D and you'll be like, is this what I want to do? Or do I really like this? And then you will start questioning it. And that's okay. In your first year, when you're questioning those things, it's actually the right way to go, because you're actually starting to explore who you are and where your interests lie. So keep an open mind. And the second thing is, for me personally, and this is, I guess, me more reflecting back, as an international student, it was very easy for me to kind of go towards people who looked similar to me or had similar interests and things like that on campus. Diversify your friend group as well. You'll find such a diverse group of people on campus, and you get to learn something from every person you meet. So try to move out of those, maybe you have a couple of friends from high school who are joining you, and it's great that they're there, but it's also good to kind of explore who the other people are and what they bring and what value they're adding to your life. So that will be my top 2 tips, I guess, for students. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, well, let's see. Everett, we've got someone asking, I went to high school in French. Would I be at a disadvantage choosing Mount A over a French university? Do you have thoughts on that?
Pas du tout. So I did all my schooling in French leading up to Mount A. So Mount A was like the very first time I like had formal schooling in English. And like I've interacted in English with some family members, but really my life was Francophone. And I was actually really surprised by how little of a barrier there was. I was envisioning one, and I prepared a bit, you know, I looked at some chemistry terms in English, and sure enough, you hit Chem 1. So like first year sciences at Mount A, and I think at most universities, is kind of leveling the playing field, because people come in with like IB math or AP math or calc, like high school calc or pre-calc. So they're really trying to level the playing field. So there was a fair bit of revision. And during that time, I had to learn the translations. And for example, in chemistry, it's not that hard. Like it seems daunting, but when you come in practice, like in French, carbon dioxide is dioxyde de carbone. So there's similar words, and you quickly make the associations. And yeah, like it's like first year, there'll be a bit of translation that you need to do, but honestly, it amazed me at how little resistance there was. And the other thing to know, if you are a Francophone, considering an English university such as Mount Allison, especially Mount Allison, I guess I should say, there are actually a lot of Francophones. So like my name, Everett Patterson, like you never know I spoke French. Rachel Howlett, I know also has done schooling in French. I lived off campus with roommates, and 5 of us spoke French. So we'd like speak in French together. So there are a lot of people who speak a lot of languages, and there's a lot of diversity, although you might not see it like on the surface. If you start asking questions and getting to know people, you'll see what a rich culture there is at Mount A in languages, in religious ethnicity, in diversity on like all the facets. And it's a really cool environment to get to explore that. So absolutely, if you're coming from French, like French New Brunswick system or BC or whatever, don't be afraid. There will be some translation. Obviously the courses aren't done in French at Mount A, but I wouldn't worry about it.
Awesome. Thank you. So you would say there's like a good amount of student, but also what about professor diversity? Do you have anything to say about that, Everett?
I think the professorial body is also fairly diverse. I think academia as a whole, like not specific to Mount A, does have some progress to be made. I know math and physics, which I study, have a lot of definitions and theorems named after old white men who did it a long time ago, but more and more we're seeing women. And I'm thinking about math and physics who both have had now female department heads. And I think it's really important to have those gender minorities in those fields. but also racial minorities in other fields. And if I'm not mistaken, Mount A has hired a Black professor within the English department recently, and we now have a Black diversity student advisor.
Yes, we do.
So there's definitely room for improvement at Mount A and at other universities, but I've been impressed by the steps that Mount A has made just during the 4 years I was there, seeing the improvement and the progress. And I have no doubt that will continue to happen in the years to come.
Great. Thank you for speaking to that, Everett. Okay, well, Heather, I don't think we've heard from you in a little while. Could you tell us what some of the things your friends are doing that are kind of cool?
Sure. So I feel like, we're 5 years out. So some people went right into school following Mount Allison, and some people ended up finding jobs. But it's really been in the last few years, I think a lot of my friends have really found what they're passionate about and are doing great work. One of my best friends from Mount Allison, her name's Eilish, and we had the opportunity to work together in student government and plan a conference together. She is now working for an organization called Parl Americas, and she plans conferences in Latin America for government and youth there and women to promote gender equality in government in Latin America. So I think that's really interesting work that she does. I have friends who are now in HR and in advertising, both on the creative and client side. And then I also have friends who have gone on to do their MBAs and work for consulting firms. So a lot of my friends have gone on to do a lot of different things, but all of which I think are really interesting and which Mount Allison helped them prepare to do.
Awesome, thanks. Megumi, do you stay in touch with your friends from Mount A?
Oh yeah, of course, for sure, all the time. I have friends that I still text like every single day, friends that I met at Mount A. And I guess I'm only like a year and I guess almost 2 years out, but these are friendships that you make for a lifetime, I think. So I'll be in contact with these people for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, as the oldest grad here, I can say you still keep in touch with your friends that you made at Mount A. I definitely do.
If I can chime in there, yeah, the Mount A connection is really something that you'll be able to utilize and benefit from. Like, I mean, I'm still young, but throughout your lifetime, I know I've interacted with many alumni who've talked about opportunities and the likes. And a more recent thing for me actually is, so I'm currently self-isolating. I had a test done for COVID. I expected to be negative, but I've been in my room for a week and it really sucks. And I've run out of groceries. But I have a friend, Graham Zink, who also graduated with me, class of 2020, who's also in Waterloo. And he actually dropped a bunch of groceries off at my doorstep today. So like these people, these connections are there everywhere, and they're looking out for you, and you catch up when you're in the same city. So yeah, friendships from Mount A definitely, well, they last a lifetime, and they're there when you need it.
If I could just chime in on that, I would also note that, yeah, the alumni connections for me have led to a lot of interesting opportunities in law. There's a lot of lawyers who are Mount Allison alumni working both on the East Coast and in Ontario and out West. And so even though I've never met them before, while I was at Mount A, when I see on their profile online that they went to Mount Allison, I know I can reach out to them and ask them about their careers. And I think, the other panelists would say the same about the alumni they've maybe interacted with.
Awesome. We are running a little short on time, so I just want to say, if we didn't get to your question, we have another 5 minutes. You can always email the admissions team and they can get back to you. We also have admissions counselors who are available to chat live throughout this like virtual open house that we're doing all week. So the email is just admissions@mta.ca and someone can get back to you with a question. Particularly because we've got some on the aviation program and switching programs and that kind of stuff. That's really the nitty gritty of kind of once you're in here. I guess just suffice it to say it is possible. People do it all the time. You don't declare a major until the end of your second year. But let's talk a little bit about favorites. So Dev, do you have like a favorite class that you took, and could you explain why?
Oh, wow. You'll have to give me a minute for that.
Okay.
I did not think that. Give me a minute. Let me think about it and I'll get back.
Okay. Does anyone else want to chime in?
I can jump in.
Awesome. Thanks, Rachel.
So I have two. One of them was a second year political science class it was called Democratic Thought. And it was basically just talking about how flawed by nature our political system was. And it was just one of those eye-opening moments where you think you kind of know the world and the structures, and then you actually learn the theoretical concept and you're kind of mind blown. So that was definitely a subject of conversation that kind of came up. Oh, another quick thing I will say that's so particular about Mount A, because it made me think of it, but people are so passionate about what they do. So it's really funny. You'll go to the bar and people will just be like launched into super large conversations about like academics, life, or you just get into these really cool kind of conversations that just like organically happen. And then I had another class called surface chemistry. And it was a third year chemistry class. And we talked a lot about, why you have, the certain droplets on wine glasses. And it was a very like, academic meets practical life and talking about bubbles. And it was really great.
I want to take those classes. That sounds awesome.
So I did think of one.
Awesome.
There's so many great classes, but it's also been a while since I've been out of university. So it was hard to kind of think about, okay, wait, which one was my favorite one? So I had a class called social psychology. It was with my absolute favorite professor, Dr. Claxton Oldfield. I think he's still on campus. He's fantastic. The nicest human being ever. It was just a class of 10 of us. And what made this course really interesting was we actually, as a group, organized a human library, which was basically we brought people from different diverse backgrounds, socioeconomic backgrounds, from the LGBTQ plus community, and the community members or students at Mount A could check out a human and ask them questions about their identity, their background, and how that defines who they are. And I thought that was the most enlightening thing to happen on such a small campus, especially with, I guess people have this opinion that it's such a small campus, you won't find that diversity, but oh my gosh, the amount of diversity we had in that room and the kind of questions and the kind of engagement we saw, it was absolutely fantastic. And I think that's also partially a reason why even now, as part of my master's, a lot of my thesis work is focusing on diversity and inclusion. So really, really cool course.
Awesome. Maybe what I'll do is I'll ask one more question and get everyone to give an answer to this one before we go. And Everett, if you have a little something to add to yours, that's fine. I saw you maybe had something to add. So could you talk about how your degree from Mount Allison has helped you? So let's start with Everett.
So before I answer that question, I want to touch on the favorite course. And I've had a bunch of amazing courses, quite frankly. I've been blown away by how good my courses have been. And I think that is because profs at Mount A care about your success. Profs at Mount A are there because they want to teach undergraduate students. At larger universities, you get profs who honestly, teaching is a chore. They hate doing it. They offload all the work to students. They really try to minimize what they need to do because they want to do research. And that is not the case at Mount A. At Mount A, the profs are there to see you succeed, and they're there because they're passionate about what they're teaching. And as a result, students get really engrossed in the classes because the prof is passionate. And if you have somebody who's passionate, who's teaching you and who wants to teach you, you're gonna learn so much more than the teacher that, like, I had some really bad teachers in high school and they weren't interested and I did not enjoy the classes. And then all of a sudden at university, I like what I'm taking. So I think that's a distinguishing factor at Mount A. In terms of what my degree has done for me, so I haven't like the piece of paper hasn't done things for me as of yet. Obviously, having an undergrad degree allowed me to get into grad school. But I think the Mount Allison degree is about a lot more than that piece of paper. The Mount Allison degree is about the experiences and opportunities that you encounter along the way. And for me, as somebody who knows they want to go into academia, into teaching, I was able to TA. I actually TA'd a course in my very first year, but more typically a second and third year. And you get to TA and get that teaching experience. And I got to do research after my first year at Mount A. So those are things that I don't think I could have done at just any university, and opportunities that Mount A gave me that really, really prepared me for graduate school. And I feel very much at ease and have had a lot of opportunities that my peers here haven't necessarily had because I went to Mount Allison. So while the piece of paper hasn't, I mean, it's very pretty, not gonna lie, it's beautiful. But the degree is about so much more than that piece of paper. It's about the connections, about the opportunities. And those have been paying big dividends even only 6 months after graduating.
Awesome. Thanks, Everett. Heather, do you want to answer that question? How your degree from Mount A has helped you?
Yeah, so it's a tough one to answer because I truly feel that my time at Mount Allison has shaped who I am today. But I think overall, like I've mentioned throughout the evening, my involvement on campus, and through that developing so many skills. And I feel had I gone to a larger university, I'm not sure I would have had those opportunities or had the confidence or support to get involved in the things that I did while at Mount A. And then I think more tangibly, my honors thesis, the opportunity to work so closely with a professor, she really worked on my writing skills with me. And through that opportunity and working closely with her, I've developed really strong writing and public speaking skills that I saw work to my benefit in law school and still in practice. And like one of the other panelists mentioned, just briefly, I think students at Mount A are used to juggling school, extracurriculars, their social life, going to the gym. And so again, that I saw my time management and efficiency skills really helped me in law school and now today. So there's countless ways in which my degree has helped me, but those are just a few examples.
Awesome. Thanks. Megumi, do you want to go next?
Sure. And just before we start, I wanted to just pitch exchange a little bit because we haven't talked about it. I went on exchange to Ireland in my third year, and it was one of the best decisions I made at Mount A. It was just like a great opportunity. There's a great international center at Mount A that matches you to different universities. So if you get a chance, then just do it. You're never going to regret you're never going to regret going on exchange, but you will regret not going. So if you have an opportunity, then just do it. As for how Mount A, my degree has helped me, I want to echo what everyone has said. I think my research experience with getting my honors degree, and then as well as TAing and tutoring, those are skills that that really are helpful in med school now and have really like shaped me. And as well as the time management skills, that's a huge one. I think learning how to do what you love, and then with the volunteering or sports and being good at academics and also having a social life, that's a lot to juggle, and learning that at Mount A has made it so much easier for me to do it now. So yeah.
Awesome. I love the pitch for studying abroad. That's awesome. Okay, so how about Dev, and then we'll end with you, Rachel.
What has the Mount A degree done for me? Oh my gosh. I've been trying to think about this. For me, Mount A is family away from home. And I could tear up every time I talk about it. But leaving home when I was 17 to come to a completely foreign country, the people I met, the relationships I built, I don't think anything can replace that. Besides the community and the people, Mount A kind of helped me grow as a person. I was a child. Now that I look back, I'm like, oh my gosh, we've grown so much, all me and my friends, and what we used to be, and how much we learned through our conversations and our dialogue with each other. Mount A has also given me my career. Wherever I am today, I'm here because of Mount Allison, whether it be the volunteer opportunities, whether it be the TAing, whether it be the internships, and my first full-time opportunity. I don't think I would have had or been where I am today without Mount Allison. And my friends, all my friends right now, all my Mount A friends, like we are all in touch. We constantly text. We're always there for each other. I know if I'm having a terrible day, that even if I haven't been in touch with a friend for 2 months, I can just pick up the phone and be like, hey, I'm having a terrible day. And that's just the community that Mount A kind of builds for you over the course of the 4 years, or how many ever years you will be there. So I'll kind of just end it on this note. Mount A is home. Mount A just gives my heart that warm feeling. And I was there just this June. I went to visit some of my friends on the East Coast, some of the staff that I work with, and I was honestly in tears. Like I wasn't being able to hold it all back. So it's truly it's a wonderful, life-changing experience.
That was beautiful. Thank you, Dev. Rachel, what about you? Can you talk a little bit about how your degree from Mount A helped you?
Yeah, I think I'm going to echo a little bit about what was just said, but I think really it's the relationships, like to be able to really work with profs closely, like near the end, my honors supervisor, she had like counseled me on career opportunities multiple times. I had cried in her office because I thought I broke something in the lab, and she was reassuring me, but you kind of end up with just like this personal connection. And like I was planning to visit her, the pandemic happened, but you know, we emailed back and forth once in a while. And I think the friendships is really worth mentioning. I think Sackville is just such a unique place, and there's nowhere really like it. And you know, it is small, but you end up with all these like very specific memories. So whenever you run into someone, you can, you know, talk about a shop or talk about, you know, something that happened, and it's kind of that connection. So it's a degree, and academically, like all of that is there compared to other universities, but you just get that extra special connection.
Yeah, thank you all so much for being here and sharing your Mount A experience. This has been really fun for me. I love talking to fellow Allisonians and reminiscing, and I really hope that everyone who attended, you guys found this informative and interesting. Our attendance didn't really drop as we went, so that's always a good sign. So thank you, everyone. Enjoy all of our online open house activities this week. And like I said, if you do have further questions, you want to talk further about anything, please email admissions team at MTA, and they will be super happy to get back to you. So I'm going to leave it at that. But thank you all so much for being here. Really, really appreciate it.